The day the school caught fire. The reason I went to the art room was because if I was going to die anyway, I wanted to die in the place I loved most. I thought that would be the end of it. I thought it was all over. I'm sure of it. This place is. It's been a week since I entered the painting. Inside the painting I drew. I wonder if the kids evacuated safely. I never imagined something like this would happen to me. Squeak. The flow of time is inconsistent here, so I don't know exactly how long I've been inside. Although I've managed to figure out a few simple rules of this painting. First rule. Everything I draw here becomes real. If I draw a bag of salt, it becomes real. Even pots, spatulas, flowers, and trees. That's right. I've been liberated from grocery expenses. Even so, there was one limitation. It didn't work on humans. They would just be warm corpses and couldn't become living, breathing humans. Honestly, I'm relieved. If I had the power to create living people, this peaceful, potato-like life of mine would have turned into a nightmare. Second rule. I can interact with the outside world through the frame hanging on this tree. I can even go outside the painting, and when I did, I learned over 30 years had already passed since the fire. 31 years, to be exact. It seemed the world had completely changed since that day. That bastard's coming out. Pour all your power into it. Disappear from the face of the earth. I don't have the confidence to handle a modern society plagued by monsters. A portrait belongs inside its frame. The world outside is dangerous. Third rule. This forest has become an ecosystem of its own. All I painted was a 2-story cottage and a forest. Yet plants and landmarks I never drew are scattered throughout it. Furthermore, every creature inside this painting is friendly toward me. Is it because I painted this place? Since they're creatures living inside my artwork, perhaps it's only natural they're fond of their creator. And the fourth. Mangdung fruit, a round fruit measuring 1 to 2 cm in diameter. It has a reddish hue and a sweet and sour flavor, with the sweetness being more prominent. Elixir refining method, view more. I wish it would give me some warning before popping up. This thing isn't really a rule of the forest, but a phenomenon that manifests in those who awakened after the great catastrophe. I heard the people of Earth now call them hunters. It's like a game. It's fascinating that I've become one of them too, especially inside this painting. It feels like one of those relaxing games where you gather ingredients and cook. I don't know if I'll ever need to use it, but maybe I should try making some medicine with what I gathered today. For someone living the life of an unemployed shut-eye, it's like discovering brand new content. Eating, sleeping, and never having to work. I couldn't have asked for a happier life. Sweet potatoes. Today's lunch is stir-fried honey sweet potatoes. I'll cook it with the ingredients that are always perfectly stocked in the cottage. Back when I was a teacher, I never had the luxury to enjoy cooking. But now, I'm enjoying the 3-hour dining life. I like it. A noise from the entrance. The final rule. Geo became the painting. Title, Geo's portrait. Was that just a wild animal passing by? Geo loved this tranquil place. One day, free day, all the time. So much so that he wouldn't have minded staying inside the painting forever. This is nice. Here, it's over here. Take a look at this painting. Wow, how did this survive the fire without a single scorch mark? It's in excellent condition, right? Looks like it even has a title. Let's see. It says Gio's portrait. Man, it's so convenient tagging along with a guy who has the appraisal skill. The title popped up, so it's definitely an item. But is it from Earth? Hey, come on. We're in an abandoned school deep in the mountains of Gangwon province. This is the only thing here that's spotless, and you still don't get it? It's very obvious it came out of some dungeon. If you understand, then pack it up already. Quickly. Do you think they'll count something like this as a haul? I don't know about anyone else, but the Collector Guild will go crazy for it. Let's enjoy being filthy rich for once. While Gio was fully enjoying his piece, the entrance to the painting shifted on its own. Before he knew it, the painting had been moved to a collector's gallery. Magnificent. By SA BUL S-Class Hunter Skill, Appraisal Collector Guild Leader. A little earlier. I'm aware we're literally called collectors. But don't you think you went a bit overboard this time? Are you seriously telling a collector not to collect right now? Isn't that too insulting? Do you even know how much money went into that portrait? I'm buying my own things with my own money, so why are you acting like this? But this item is a piece that even the Hunter Association president wanted. 31 years ago, the great catastrophe struck. Countless dimensions collided with Earth, creating dungeons, from which monsters poured endlessly. As Earth was devastated by the appearance and interference of the divinities, she created the system and saved humanity from the brink of extinction. One of the symbols of eternity. The Hunter Association president, Hera, a woman with supposedly no interest in collecting and whose only hobby is raising monsters. Yet even she blindly drove the bidding all the way up to 2,000 in units of 100 million. The association president. That is certainly surprising. It's an artwork that even the association president coveted. It's hard to believe I couldn't get any information even with my appraisal skill. My skills were lacking, so I couldn't recognize the true value of the piece. I apologize for judging it so hastily. It's understandable if you didn't know. I get it. Because I don't know what this portrait is either. What kind of nonsense is that? Guild leader. You became an S-Class hunter solely with your appraisal skill. You're the guild leader of one of Korea's 3 greatest guilds. The Collector Guild. An item that even someone like you can't appraise? If something like that exists, what else could happen to Earth? A little flattery won't get you anywhere. You know that's not what I meant. That thing is more dangerous than anything we've collected so far. Exactly. That's precisely why I wanted it. I wonder whose portrait this is. If a human painted this, their skill is truly amazing. No, even if it wasn't painted by a human, I'd say the same. It's as though they trapped a living person inside, with this overwhelming sense of vitality. What is this? It's pitch black. Black. Deep. Yet full of color. Could it be the universe itself? Yes, I knew it. There's no way this painting could be ordinary, considering even my eyes couldn't appraise it. Meanwhile, Gio, the man inside the painting, was absolutely terrified. To think that, in this peaceful cabin, I would ever feel my life being threatened. I knew the scenery outside the entrance had been changing recently, but, ahem. To think someone would even start talking to me. Knock knock. Master, can you hear me? Would you care to have a chat with me? No. The place I've ended up in is inside an incredibly lavish building. Seeing the meticulously crafted interior. It seems to be a gallery that receives plenty of love from its owner. Well, this is troubling. This is my only entrance. If it's like this, then every time I go out to see the outside world, you'll have to come down to the station. I'm innocent. It might be considered trespassing. What if they called it a haunted portrait? And then burn it? So unfair. It's so unfair. What a harsh world. Was I being too rude? It seems you aren't ready to talk yet. Then, I will see you again tomorrow, Master. He's coming back? Gio's day life inside the painting began with a delicious meal. Today, since the flowers and fruits I gathered before have dried up nicely, I should try making some tea for dessert. Come to think of it, didn't I have a tea set? Nice. The first of the new activities discovered by this unemployed slacker in the painting. Forest butterfly flower tea. Tea made from bivarnal petals. Greatly helps with hemostasis and boosting immunity. Is making medicinal tea using the elixir refining method provided by the system. It says it's effective for stopping bleeding and boosting your immunity. But these aren't effects I can verify with this body. Because ever since I fell into this painting, this body no longer has any physiological needs. I can move, eat, and sleep. But I don't feel cold or hot, so I don't sweat. And I don't even need to go to the bathroom anymore. I just fell into a painting, and yet, I've become such an exceptionally evolved human. In other words, it means I've also been freed from cleaning the bathroom. The serious problem right now isn't that, but, oh, moss. Good heavens. It's already been. Master? No answer today either, I see. 11 days since that man started pitching himself to me. That makes me very sad. Don't you get bored being all alone? I do not. Introvert. My harmless potato-like life. And my honey-sweet potato-like peace. The entrance also indicated that he was a relatively safe person. And I appreciate him talking to me in a friendly manner, but, Master, seeing you just opening and closing your eyes inside the frame is really driving me crazy, as I am starved for conversation. Is this sacrifice not to your liking? The most commonly favored sacrifice is, of course, a sinful human. Or perhaps it should be a completely flawless one. In today's society, finding a sinful human is a piece of cake. So if there's a specific type of sinner you desire, then please. Whether it's objects, contracts, or conditions suited to your taste, just say the word. Even so, that's just too much pressure. I can already see a future I won't be able to handle if I reply even once. Are you perhaps not responding because I'm using Korean? But wait, I already tried 27 languages and didn't get a reaction to any of them. Master? The tea is really delicious, but I feel like I'm going to get indigestion. According to the people who look like staff, he's the chairman of one of South Korea's top 3 conglomerates. Chairman, what are you doing here instead of working? Do you really have no intention of conversing with me? Very well, I'll come see you again. I don't sense any malice from him. And I don't dislike him since he doesn't seem like a bad person, but introvert. It's just a bit draining for now, I suppose. He won't be able to keep that up forever. Just like how he left a little early today. Once he gets fed up. Flower. I'll try interacting with him then. just in case he decides I can't be reasoned with, and actually burns the painting, which would be a problem. If the portrait gets ruined, I don't even know what would happen to this painted world. I don't want to be burned at the stake yet. I need to take back ownership of my one and only entrance. Current time for AM. Special attention rules. Past. Checking humidity and temperature standards. No abnormalities. Finally, checking Gio's portrait. I'm pretty sure it said portrait. Hello. Would you like to have a conversation with me? One of South Korea's top 3 guilds, Collector. This gallery, along with its owner, by Sabiel, is accessible only to around 300 licensed hunter curators and guests purchasing artwork. They say there's a ghost. Pardon? You know the gallery on basement level 5. We've received 17 complaints concerning it over the past 2 weeks. 17? Guild leader by Sabiel collected anything he considered art, even if the artwork's true nature happened to be a monster. He didn't care in the slightest. The ghost incidents that happened there were mostly caused by monsters. Even so, ghost incidents aren't exactly an uncommon phenomenon. So why did the curators file so many complaints this time? HR stopped the rumors from spreading outside. The incident itself was small in scale, so controlling the flow of information wasn't difficult. But there's no guarantee we'll be able to keep it contained. This seems like a pretty troublesome situation. I can already smell the mountain of overtime waiting for me. Still, I'm used to this. What would you like me to do? Yu Seong-gun, A-class hunter-gardener of the Snowfield Collector Curator. You really are reliable. If I remember correctly, you were even a research team leader at the association. That's right. Do you know how much they glared at me when I left the association? I don't want to stand out. I see. Then I can't force you any further. In any case, if rumors of trouble at this gallery spread outside, it won't do us any good. Therefore, we're preparing countermeasures after reporting everything to the guild leader. These are the compiled witness statements regarding the ghost incident. Starting next week, all staff will undergo enhanced safety training. Information on first staff witness Mr. Kim XX, age 24, no chronic illnesses, no irregularities in attendance records. Description of the ghost: approximately 188 cm tall, well-built physique, black cape, pale skin, black hair. Summary of witness accounts: its appearance has remained identical across all sightings. It's handsome. Composite sketch based on the testimony of staff member Park XX, who claims to have high standards. Observed characteristics of the ghost: 1. Difficult to make eye contact with. 1-to-1. Although witnesses are unable to look directly at its face, they all insist that it's handsome. 2. It makes no sound. 2-to-1. Every witness agrees that it makes no sound whatsoever. Even during conversation, the only audible sound is its voice. The sighting reports are remarkably consistent. This monster, despite disguising itself as a display piece, it doesn't seem interested in hiding its existence at all. Strange. It's appeared this many times, and yet there hasn't been a single casualty. Of all the monsters that have appeared on Earth so far, there hasn't been a single one without hostility toward humans. Everything that came pouring out of this other dimension called a dungeon was like that, without exception. If a monster like that really existed, it'd be front-page news worldwide. No, before the public even found out. the association would have locked it away as a research specimen. And what's this about? Giving people gifts? When someone first encounters the ghost, they say it asks to have a conversation as if it were an ordinary human. No, who would believe it's human just because it pretends to be? It may genuinely believe it is human. In any case, after that, IT asks the staff member to exchange names. Hello, my name is Seo Geo. Even though the staff member is under so much pressure that they can't even meet its gaze, IT calmly continues the conversation. The conversation itself is perfectly ordinary. IT doesn't ask for deeply personal information. And if they're reluctant to reveal their identity, IT doesn't pry any further. After successfully finishing the conversation like that, this is what it gives them. Yes, as you can see, it's food. What kind of domestic little monster is this? Did you analyze the components? I'm not sure why, but the guild leader happened to have some prisoners prepared, so we were able to test it immediately. I see he borrowed them from prison again. What was it? Was it poison? On the contrary, it was medicine. Anemia medicine, digestive medicine, painkillers, fever reducers, antidiarrheals, and so on. Each gift perfectly matched the condition of the staff member who received it. As for how ordinary-looking food comes to possess medicinal properties like that, even the research team hasn't figured it out yet. The more I hear, the more troublesome this monster sounds. Not only can it grasp the condition of living beings, it can also create things capable of directly affecting them. It also managed to bypass this guild's security and get itself displayed as an exhibit, which means it's also skilled at concealing itself. This is almost certainly a high-ranking monster. Yes, but the fact that it's showing goodwill toward humans makes things difficult for us. I'd rather it just went on a rampage. We can't subdue it, and we can't win it over either. Goodwill shown by civilizations, discovered within dungeons, is truly terrifying. That's because 11 years ago, delegations from several nations were sent to establish contact with a civilization from another dimension. Every single one of them returned as healthy malformations. To that civilization, the human body was considered inefficient. So out of what they believed to be goodwill, they improved the delegates' bodies. In the end, a monster is a monster. From that day on, all beings originating from dungeons were classified as enemies. This ghost will be a tricky raid. I'll take it on. This is my specialty, after all. Thank you. Not at all. Responding to incidents like this is my duty. There's one more thing I need to tell you. It's about when the incidents first started. It was when the guild leader placed Geo's portrait on display in basement level 5. Doors closing. Mr. Yu Gun, please take charge of a new exhibit. Mr. Yu Gun, this time, another new piece. Mr. Yu Gun, management assignment for the new piece. You'll be taking charge of a new exhibit. This piece is called Geo's portrait. This wasn't just a little extra work. Overtime was guaranteed. Curator Yu Gun begins the search for Geo's portrait. It appeared. A black cloak, black hair, bare feet, and a build around 188 cm tall. It matches the appearance data in the files. It comes out at dawn, when there aren't many staff around. And the fact that it only appears around this time means that it's either an entity conscious of people's eyes, or there are certain conditions or rules for when it can act. Is it timid or cunning? Well, since it's humanoid, the latter seems more likely. Its appearance cycle wasn't regular. So getting a chance to observe it right away like this. This should be considered lucky, I suppose. For today, I'll simply observe and verify the data. Skill environmental sound adjustment. They said it was soundless enough to call it a ghost, right? The others must not have had any hearing-related skills. It does make a sound, but it's very faint. Like the sound of blades of grass brushing against each other. It's certainly not a sound that suits something with a 188 cm build. But, is that thing? Admiring the artworks right now. The items displayed on this floor are very dangerous. So even a slight wrong touch could cause an uproar. Is that because it's a highly intelligent humanoid? It's not touching them, it's only looking. Whether it's interested in art, or just trying to kill time, or looking for an item it can use. Our eyes met. What is this? It's too black. But it's bright. Within a center so black and distant it's terrifying. Something enormous is. Inspiring awe for no reason. Something exists. In there. It hid. This is driving me insane. I didn't provoke it for nothing, did I? Geos Portrait Exploration Day 1 complete. That startled me. Why was that person hiding in a place like that? No, wait. Was he hiding because he was afraid of me? Every staff member who saw me ran away without ever looking back. In that case, did it look like I was the one running away? He's already gone back. My efforts to appear like a harmless portrait must continue. It'd be troublesome if these misunderstandings escalated things. Still, I feel like he'll come back, don't you think? I just have that feeling. Those guys do come close, but when I try to touch them, they avoid me. So this is wildlife. Something I could freely squish and pet. I wish I had a pet. Geos Portrait Exploration Day 2 start. Since it seemed like it was running away yesterday, I thought it had hidden itself completely. What a relief. Then the work starts from here. That thing yesterday is proof that this portrait is no ordinary monster. From now on, I need to find and follow this portrait's rules and determine what this is and whether it can coexist with us. To be honest, just standing here and looking straight into those eyes feels like it's draining the strength from my entire body. Among the monsters that flowed into Earth after the Great Catastrophe, there are many cases where you have to raid the story they possess. Of course, there's no guarantee that a raid attempt will succeed on the first try. So for the sake of coexistence, humans had no choice but to study them. Would you like to talk with me? Yes, I'd like to have a conversation. That was one of the ways to survive on today's Earth. He's a good person. Geo was moved. Although we startled each other when we first met. Even when facing a talking portrait like this, he doesn't show the slightest sign of fear. I apologize for what happened yesterday. He even cares about my feelings. What a decent member of society. Right, in a world where people fight house-sized monsters. A talking, moving portrait is perfectly ordinary. You don't need to apologize for that. Thank you for your consideration. May I ask your name? Has a conversation begun, following the same procedure used on the 17 people that went before me? In times like these, the power held by a true name is dangerous anywhere. What matters most in contracts that bind soul to soul is also each other's names. This portrait might hear my name and enter me into some bizarre contract. But judging by the rules this portrait has shown so far, I don't think he'll suddenly do something bad now, just because I tell him my true name. I am Yu Seong-gun. I see, Mr. Yu Seong-gun. You have a question for me written on your face. A whole lot of them. That's right, the one whose eyes met mine yesterday. Was that you, Gio? Yes, that was me. He's telling me this so readily. Then, are you saying you can come directly outside of that portrait? Yes, I can. You look flustered. Oh dear, did it show? I was surprised that a non-human being like this would give out information about itself without a second thought. I didn't expect you to reveal yourself so easily. There was no reason for me not to tell you. Why is that? Because you asked. What if I had asked with impure motives? That's a lie. Mr. Yu Seong-gun is a kind and polite person. That is why I spoke to you as well. Is that answer sufficient? He can distinguish and classify others as good or evil. What would happen if someone faced before this portrait was judged to be evil by him? Would he do more than simply ignore them? Would he attack? Do you have another question? Yes. Lately, the one wandering around this gallery and handing out tasty gifts, the ghost. Could that be you, Gio? Why is he slow to answer this one? A ghost, is it? Did he not like being called a ghost? I have absolutely no idea what he's thinking. I'm sorry if I offended you. So all of them really did run away because they were scared. No, I understand. A talking portrait certainly deserves to be called possessed by a ghost. However, I have never died. Does that mean you were a portrait from birth? I'm also curious whether there was a reason you wandered around the gallery. I was curious about where I am. After all, I had suddenly become a portrait and been moved here. The rare works on display caught my interest. And I wondered what sort of people worked in this gallery. What kind of lives they led. And what names and tastes they had. Even in a world changed like this. When one is alone, one naturally seeks someone to talk to. To survive, one needs a social life. I don't want to be burned at the stake. To say he felt interest in such an utterly dry tone. His interest in human lifestyles is just like any other monster's. All the more so with a polite person like you. You seem to like polite people. At the very least, more than this place's bright red leader. I judged the staff to be better suited as conversation partners. Leader. Do you mean guild leader by Sabiel? He's a talkative person. He talks so much that it's difficult to respond. Guild leader. You got on his bad side. No wonder, even though he entrusted me with the work this time. He gave me unusually little information. It was because Gio judged the guild leader to be rude and refused to engage in conversation. Serves him right. I knew living like that would come back to bite him. I'm sorry, our guild leader is a bit unusual. I'll apologize on his behalf. He didn't appear to be a bad person. So it's all right. So if someone isn't evil, he won't be hostile even if they're rude. Even after seeing right through an S-class hunter, who is a guild leader, he's that relaxed. What on earth is this thing? Do you have another question? The portrait usually seems to have its eyes closed. But even when the portrait's eyes are closed, can you see this place? Were you able to observe us from inside the portrait this entire time? Why does he want to keep talking with humans? Rather than observing, to put it simply, it was more like the scenery outside the window was moving, so I watched. Like looking out the window of a bus on the way to Seoul for the holidays. In any case, the portrait opening its eyes happened when I had the will to communicate with the outside. I confirmed that with a broken mirror shard in the school that had burned down. Other than that, the portrait always has its eyes closed. and I could only watch safely from inside. Since you are in the frame, I have no choice but to watch. Moving paintings are fascinating. I see. So the paintings aren't himself, but the humans outside. Is that it? Your blunt way of speaking surprises me, Gio. I was merely being polite. If one is human, shouldn't one observe proper manners? It was a pleasant conversation. Gio's portrait investigation day 2 complete. Guild leader. That thing is dangerous. What is dangerous about that portrait? It's completely different from the monsters we've seen until now. Those monsters drowned people with their goodwill until they suffocated. Most importantly, he genuinely recognizes himself as human. Though I can't tell whether he truly believes that, or merely wants to. In cases like this, things usually seem harmless. But if something goes wrong, the consequences can be unimaginable. That portrait also has a concept of good and evil, and judges others based on his own standards. I can't imagine how he'd react if he met an evil person. Have you considered sending it to the Hunter Association as research material? Have I now? I know. I thought you'd say that. The more I hear, the more I feel you're doing something kind. Please keep talking with Gio. Get close to him and introduce me too. Since it'd be a problem if I went through all that trouble only to be ignored again. Please be sure to find out what Gio likes as well. It's an extremely personal request, but understood. It's my job anyway, so I have to do what I have to do, right? You don't need to ask. How are all my employees so nonchalant? Perhaps because you only recruit people like that. Guild leader by Sabiel's obsession with collecting wasn't limited to objects. All of the collector's employees were people the guild leader had stubbornly trained and transferred in. No matter how low a hunter's rank was, he never recruited carelessly. If merely standing in its presence is enough to pressure employees with such strong wills and cloud their judgment, then all I can tell is that the grade of its soul is extraordinary. I will report to you periodically. But there aren't any similar beings to compare him to. That makes it difficult to identify his exact nature after only a day or two. By Sabiel, that man. Very well, you may leave. Is he really planning to destroy the Earth or something? Gio's portrait exploration day 3 begins. Are you not lonely? I am not. I'm sorry if that was an impolite question. The only people who ever come here are the employees assigned to manage the artwork. So I thought, perhaps stepping outside the portrait every now and then was your way of easing that loneliness. It was only a guess, though. I like places without people. So this suits me just fine. Do you perhaps feel uncomfortable talking? Not at all. It's just, I've already spent far too much of my life talking. So I've always imagined a future where I wouldn't have to speak all the time. Where I wouldn't have to speak too much. Wouldn't have to be tied down too much. Wouldn't have to worry too much. I always wanted such a place. This place is well suited to that wish of mine. Were you once human? I am still human. Right. What I meant was, were you once an ordinary human who wasn't inside a painting? Yes, I was. Humanoid monsters are divided into 2 types. I see. Those that were born monsters, but gradually evolved to take on a human form. And those who started out as humans, but at some point came to belong to the root and became monsters. Is Gio the latter? Is that why he insists on calling himself a person? If so, that's even stranger. Monsters that retain memories of their human lives are especially prone to being swayed by negative emotions. But this one feels far too tranquil. It's not the calm that comes with peace. It's more like standing at someone's funeral, as though it's mourning a death. Then, Do you not get bored? Sometimes. How do you relieve that boredom? Usually, I have a meal. A meal? A painting eats? I enjoy eating. So paintings really can eat. He doesn't look like someone who would enjoy meals. With a face like that, it doesn't seem he would be moved by anything. Please don't tell me that cooking ingredients are human. I cook. I decide what I want to eat. Then I gather the appropriate ingredients and prepare them. After that, I simply cook them with proper tools and finish the dish. Yesterday. Because I am an ordinary human. What an odd thing to ask. Does he realize that explaining it like that only makes him sound less human? I see. Portrait rules. First rule, everything I draw here becomes real. Second rule, I can interact with the outside world through the frame hanging on this tree. Third rule, this forest is a painting showing. Are you curious about what I can do inside the portrait? I feel the same. This may be rude of me to ask, but may I ask how you have your meals? I've also been wondering, what is and isn't possible inside this portrait? Then perhaps I'll ask Mr. Gun to help me test something I've been curious about. There are also a few things I can only enjoy because I'm inside this portrait. How does that work? It requires a little help. But you can bring me joy as well, Mr. Gun. What kind of joy are you talking about? Please draw an apple on this portrait. On the portrait itself? Correct. It is not difficult, is it? Touching a work of art like this is truly unpleasant, but do you always carry art supplies with you? I try to carry a variety of possible items. I never know what might happen in this gallery. So preparing for various situations is better for my own safety. What's happening right now is proof enough. What would have happened if I hadn't brought my drawing tools with me? It's not a particularly beautiful apple. He ate it. He ate the apple one drew. This is. I've never seen anything like this before. It's delicious. Nicely ripe with such a lovely aroma. I just used some cheap paint to draw it. But now the painting has scent and taste. I am an ordinary human who's living inside a painting. By the same logic, even if I am inside here, I should be able to accomplish many great things as well. On days when I don't feel like cooking, I draw a finished dish like this and eat it. Ordinary humans can't do that. Is it really strange? I understand. Then I will repay you for your kindness for drawing me an apple. Repay me. What is he going to do this time? Gun really is kind. Even when some portrait on the wall suddenly asks him to draw an apple, he went along with it. After I opened my eyes in the portrait, I tested various things, but I also tried painting gems. I turned those gems into a paint and tried painting with them. But the paints, the picture, they were as if alive. In this portrait, where I could even create warm corpses, it seemed as if nothing was impossible for me. That's why I wondered what would happen if it became connected to the reality outside the frame. As expected, it wasn't completely without restrictions. A token of gratitude, Here's a token of my gratitude. This is some unknown gem with a crystal structure. He created this by drawing it. What kind of gem is this? I don't know. But it must have been deep underground, where it was hot enough to burn. It was in a place hot enough to dwell alongside the planet's heart. So perhaps it took after my friend and came to hold heat within it. This much I know for certain. This portrait is not a monster. Geos Portrait Exploration Day 3 complete. The route, Those are the results of my observations so far. The root. A transcendent being that manages the balance of every universe and dimension and creating the rules. It's a system of sorts and the god of gods. The dungeons that engulfed Earth 30 years ago are stories of new dimensions born from the vein of the root. And monsters arose within the dungeons the same way. That is what the gardeners know. Monsters are born from dungeons. And the root's children are born from the root. The two differ in both origin and nature. But Geo was unlike either of them. What's more, Geo created beings other than himself. Geo's Portrait Exploration Day 6. They are my new family. I've gotten into it, so I'm trying to make several of them. They're flying around inside the portrait. You created them? There seem to be a lot. Did you draw all of them? Yes, around 100. They're chatterboxes. I can't even imagine how noisy they would be if they had vocal cords. They gather together to form a pond. And they like putting things inside their bodies to decorate themselves. Each bird has very clear tastes, so they're fun to watch. The way you speak, you don't refer to them simply as drawings, but as if they're alive. Do these birds have souls? This is beyond what monsters can do. I'm not sure. The root's children have no ego, so they cannot even hold a conversation like this. Geo, you are certainly a painting, but at the same time you are human. And you are a being who can affect reality. I don't sense divinities from you either, so you are even less likely to be a god, too. However, through your drawings, you can create a fate, a past, memories. Can you create actual people as well then? If he's doing all of that alone, then this is. It may be possible, or it may not. But I do not even want to try that. Creating humans feels unsettling. That is something far too special. And I am not that special. Please don't think of me as too special. It would be better if you didn't. I'll be careful. Are you truly not considering sending it to the association? All I can grasp right now is the story of the portrait. What exact techniques it uses. How great the grade of its soul is. Or what role Geo holds within the root are all things I don't have an answer to. If this is an entity whose effect on humanity is unknown, there is no place better than the association to analyze Geo's portrait. That is what's best for humanity. Curator Yu Seong-gun. Have you forgotten the tasks I asked of you when I hired you? I'm not the kind of person who wants that, am I? I don't want weapons. I want artwork. That's why I founded this guild, this company. I may have some pride as an artist. But as a hunter, I have not the slightest ounce of pride. Mr. Yu Song-yuan. No collector expects an artisan's work to ward off some petty evil spirit, or to grant them pleasant dreams. I am simply curious about the story contained within a painting, and I simply want to preserve that story fully with my own hands. Don't you understand now? We cannot stop that. That may be a natural disaster, but we can communicate with it. And fortunately, IT bears goodwill towards US. This is truly incredible luck. An absurd miracle, you could say. Whatever its true nature is. We mustn't foolishly let this miracle slip away. So that's why you bought Geo? Now that he's already appeared at an auction, he'll end up being revealed to the world. And you're saying you acted first in case some disaster happened in the process. I see quite a lot, you know. So if he believes himself to be human, then we simply treat him as such. Gurgle. He's on a completely different level, isn't he? A gardener shouldn't be so narrow-minded. Think bigger, all right? Bigger. Gio is a good person, very kind even. He dislikes being inconvenienced, but he doesn't hate it. If someone doesn't resent what makes them uncomfortable, just how kind a person must they be? He conducts himself with courtesy and while respecting others. He's also merciful enough not to force any rules on them. On top of that, he fears hurting someone. He fears it, you say? At most, IT should feel like even less than a human stepping on an ant. Didn't I say he was kind? You haven't even had a proper conversation with him, so how can you know that much? You need at least this much ability to be a guild leader. Just by meeting his eyes once, you have to grasp this much. Do you understand? Don't go prying into his inner thoughts on your own and incur his wrath. Just become a good conversation partner for Gio. And take him outside from time to time. Are you serious? After I went to the trouble of worrying as a curator of collector. I will trust you, guild leader. No, I trust your eye for things. Those eyes that can see what humans cannot. Provide the greatest service that collector can offer to Gio. What a relief. A root entity this easy to communicate with. I didn't want to hand him over to the association. The research they conduct there is practically abuse. Gun was a gardener. The root entity, known as a garden, chooses someone to care for it. And the person who becomes a gardener devotes their heart and soul to the garden. Because managing a garden also affected the difficulty of various dungeons. Gardeners loved their gardens, and at the same time, took pride in them. And toward the root entities that formed the foundation of the gardens. They had no choice but to feel strong curiosity and affection. Bungio Pang stalls are rare these days. He enjoys eating. As the guild leader said, if Gio truly thinks of himself as human, and his current natural respect and consideration comes from that misconception, then I should help him maintain that misconception for as long as possible. May I ask how old you are? I'm 29. 33 years old. Now this is also unexpected. You're young. I've often been told I look old for my age, but that reaction is hurtful. No, that's not what I meant. It's just that you're an entity acknowledged even by Sabiel. One that humanity supposedly cannot stop. So I didn't expect you to be under 30. Maybe being 29 is another one of his misconceptions. I didn't think you'd be younger than me. I'm curious about your age, Mr. Gun. Would you be willing to answer? I'm 33. You look young for your age. Hearing you look young from a root entity is really interesting. If you're older, it's all right for you to speak casually. Can I? I'd like that. I don't recall asking you to use formal speech after all. Then I'll speak casually from now on. Here, it's a gift. When would be best to take Gio out? Gio's portrait, Exploration Day 17. If we call one person a root, then what we call a garden is like one part of that person, such as their blood vessels, fingernails, heart, or eyes. Those are fascinating stories. I find you fascinating too, though. Even if you were chosen, maintaining a garden is pretty difficult. Plenty of people die doing it. It's a job where it's hard to relax in all sorts of ways. Is being a gardener something someone must do? It's not something you can choose out of your own will. So even though I'm working as a curator now, I can't cast off my qualification as a gardener. Here, the seeds you asked for before. Thank you. This is my first time seeing only a hand stick out. Isn't IT difficult? A little? Still, it's worth it. When I close my eyes, I see a towering snow-covered mountain and a glacier. Its grandeur captivates people. Having a garden of my own is pretty wonderful. I understand. I feel the same. Twite. Yeah? Do you perhaps want to come outside? Assuming you want to, I can show you around. For sightseeing? Making some kind of proposal to a root entity is never something to be taken lightly. We still haven't determined Geo's true identity, so we don't know what sort of interaction he'll cause with reality, but we cannot stop that. If it's going to happen anyway, it would be wise to learn about it in advance. It seems you don't know much about the situation outside. All you need to do is show up in person. I'll guide you. Has it come, then? The time to return to society. Mr. Yu Gun is right. When would be a good time? Dad is thinking it over. The people outside seemed afraid of me. I suppose when I go outside, a painting manifests in reality, so perhaps a gap forms in the range humans are able to perceive. I must look strange enough to be frightening. Even though most of the employees looked at me and talked to me, they seemed so distant, as if they were dealing with the unknown, like there was a resolution difference. It was bewildering, but it didn't feel terribly unpleasant, so don't worry. Since I've already made plans to go outside with Mr. Yu Gun, I'd like to resolve that resolution difference somehow. This content was a success too. Title: My Vegetable Patch. Grandma used to say, "Those who do no work shall not eat." You're already doing your part by being cute. You're worrying over nothing. It was a bit absurd that you evolved to be able to speak. But since you're a different color from the other water birds, and you've become all warm, I suppose I can give you a name. Do you like that? Good. Then, precious one. I also thought that one wasn't right. This dad of yours says the wrong thing sometimes. I've never seen water go stone-faced before. Then, how about honey? Because you're such a sweet color. To think you don't hate this. You're truly merciful. Then I'll finish the landscape paintings I was working on. And enjoy the sweet, deep sleep that comes at the end of labor. Searching for the corresponding dimension. The corresponding dimension has been found. Please check your new notification. What is this? Why is this the first thing I see after opening my eyes? Breathing sea. Breathing sea. Animal Kingdom, City of Emptiness. The system named the landscape paintings I finished yesterday. Discovering dimensions by painting landscapes. I wonder if this is really okay for a human being. Well, it's fun, so I guess it's fine. Maybe the system knew my naming skills and snatched away my chance to title my works. But what do adapter and synchronization mean here? Right, so you do have a conscience. Hurry up and tell me. Let's see. A method for understanding unfamiliar dimensions more conveniently. Among the existing beings within the displayed dimension, the target corresponding to Geo is designated as an adapter. If the adapter's consent is obtained by borrowing their soul and body, one can easily understand and travel through the dimension. Could this maybe mean anyone with Geo in their name will do? No, if that were the case, would they have gone so far as to call them adapters? There must be some other important condition for them to have been selected. Maybe it's the result of checking their sync rate with me, or their adaptability. Interesting. Looks like I'll never be bored in this life. And this is... The corresponding dimension does not exist. Would you like to register it? Does this mean I've just created a new dimension? I can hear my life getting flashier all the way from here. Life is an incredible thing, honey. If I don't enjoy this content right now, I'm not human. I don't know which of my remarks made you go silent. But trust this dad of yours, honey. Life is a hurricane. New notification tip, resolution problem. Look at this. The path I take is the correct answer. Tip. Solution for the resolution, make use of Geo. That's reason enough to enjoy it. What an inconsiderate delivery service. Honey isn't here either. So where is this? Breathing sea connected to Giovanni's mental world. You have a conscience this time too. Mental world. It looks like an old hospital. Hello. A face like mine. It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Giovanni of the Batland family. I'm Gio. So this person is the adapter. You look very much like me. If I were a foreigner, I suppose this is what I'd look like. I imagine we resemble each other in many other ways as well. I cannot smile as kindly as you do. I've never been good at smiling itself, so people misunderstood me quite often. They'd say I must have lost someone dear in some tragic way, or that I must have done dangerous work in the past, when all I ever did was live thinking about what I would eat next. That lovely school lunch bell. What an adorable, honest concern, just like the ones my students used to have. From now on, you should be able to smile like me. Like you. If I choose to do synchronization, is something like that possible too? I will still seek your consent, of course. But I understand it means I will be taking your body and soul. Are you not afraid or resentful of me? All for the sake of merely appreciating a new dimension. I will be robbing you of everything. This is not robbery. To begin with, I am already dead. My soul has returned to the side of the sun, and my body became earth and was buried in the ground. I suppose it could neither become earth nor be buried in the ground, because all the land there was flooded with seawater. Flooded? You mean your homeland, Giovanni? Yes, it was swallowed by seawater and perished. The fact that your homeland was destroyed seems like far too deep a story to tell someone you've only just met. Please listen. Yes, I will listen closely. What remains in that world now is probably only the mermaids hiding beneath the sea. Our planet has now shrunk like a single board game and became a dungeon that follows certain rules. A dungeon. I remember hearing about that from Yuseongan, another dimension that appeared along with the Great Catastrophe. It was a concept that did not originally exist in our world, so I did not know of it. But I understood the moment Master Seo Geo called me. We are both Geo. But we are by no means the same person. We are simply two people who miraculously share a great many things in common, yet are entirely separate human beings. However, from this moment on, my soul will become one with yours, Master Geo. You might call it some kind of resurrection and reincarnation. I will seep into you, spend more time, make memories, and live on like that within the root. The root. It may still be an unfamiliar concept to you, but you are already living there. Is the place where I reside the root? I have heard what the root is from a new acquaintance of mine, but even that is just a name the people of Earth gave it. So we cannot know what name it actually has, or what rules and form it possesses. For a humble soul like me, all I can do is answer the call and respond to you. However, if possible, would you look after the sun god of the world I came from? Me? I'm only an ordinary human being, so how could I? I thought the same while I was alive. But unless it's the root, even a god is eventually forgotten if it has no believers. That does not mean the sun will cease to exist. But as his son, I cannot help worrying. Simply remember him. Speak with him from time to time. and borrow his power. As a priest shaped by sunlight, I swear it won't be too burdensome for you. So it's roughly like visiting elderly people who live alone. I'm good at that. I've had experience doing volunteer work since my university days. Haha, what a relief. I leave it in your hands. Is there anything else you want? Hey, isn't the request to look after a god already burdensome enough? It seemed like it earlier, but not anymore. For someone like me, who lived in a mountain village in Gangwon-do, putting on a little show for the elders is nothing. Arya. Arya? That's the name of my student. Please, give her an ending. Giovanni's quest communicate with the sun god, 01. Give the Little Mermaid an ending, 01. Cold too harsh to endure. Dad's okay, honey. Pain like flesh being torn apart. Whose senses are these? Assimilation rate 1%. I'm all right. There is no problem. I don't regret it. I was happy. How terrible, Iser. There's a sun everywhere you look here. This should be enough of a preventive measure. New employee notice recently. There was an unfortunate disturbance within the guild related to a ghost story. All employees are to familiarize themselves with the new employee. Have you seen the newly posted official notice? I've never seen an official notice like this before. This black cloak thing. It's that, right? The rumored ghost from a while ago. So does this mean the Geo in the black cloak is a person? Or not? He's not the type to use an official notice for a prank. How should we interpret this? Interpret my ass. This guy is obviously not human, no matter how you look at it. But the notice is basically telling us not to let that show and to behave accordingly. If I dig into it, my workload's only going to increase. Still, when we get extra work, they do pay us accordingly. I'd rather not get paid and not do the work. I need to go home and walk our Choco. True. Then this is Schrodinger's human. And the ghost commotion was connected to the portrait on the 5th basement floor gallery. The guild leader must have concluded that it's safe to leave alone. Let's all follow the rules so it doesn't interfere with our lives. That portrait was under Yu Seongun's care, right? Then aren't we okay? I'm way too scared for this. On days when Yu Seongun is too busy to come, we have to manage it. What do we do? I should buy the curators a meal sometime soon. It seems you chose your employees very well. So this was something we could get through without internal conflict. They're all so wonderfully indifferent. They hear there's a new employee and don't even question it. And they hate extra work more than death. I truly favor them. With this, we've regulated the collector employees so they won't be rude to Geo. So at the very least, Geo shouldn't take any sudden actions inside the guild from now on. That will prevent issues inside collector. But Geo's grade is what it is. So to prevent any mishaps when he's exposed to civilians, I think we'll also need to set things up so the public thinks of him as an S-class hunter. I'm not sure how it will go if we say an S-class suddenly appeared out of nowhere. In times like these, when hunters get so much attention as public figures and idols, and national pride over hunters has grown so strong. Once rumors start, the story about him will spread in no time, won't it? I actually think that would be better. For the Roots children, their danger level changes depending on the scale of the story they contain. So if Geo's story is reduced to a human level, his safety will increase. Its scale gets reduced. That's another fascinating idea. If Yu Seongun, one of the gardeners, says so, then it must be true. In any case, we'll want a place prepared for the worst. So I finished booking a hotel exclusively for tamer hunters. Understood. I'll handle any damage short of a massacre at my discretion. So please provide Geo with an enjoyable experience. Curator Yu Seong-gun. Damage short of a massacre. As someone who has to go with him, I just hope the thing that guild leader is hoping for doesn't happen, and we can finish this sightseeing trip. But all I can do is hope Geo responds like a gentleman. Huh. Something seems different about him. Did I keep you waiting? No, I came out early. Even his voice is different from usual. His tone is so polished it feels uncanny. And the pressure that came from the difference in grade is gone. I took measures. Measures? I tried adjusting myself so that others wouldn't be alarmed when they see me. Judging by your reaction, Yu Seong-gun, it seems my attempt was satisfactory. 2 days after synchronization with Giovanni. Yes, Dad is all right. Meet an adapter, obtain their consent. Then proceed with that world's quest and assimilate. Is that how it works? Progress is much faster when I'm in Giovanni's personality. But even when I'm not, the assimilation rate itself is slowly rising. Even though they're memories I never experienced. Little by little, as if recalling a past life. Giovanni's emotions and memories are assimilating with me. He is warm-hearted and affectionate, yet possesses a gentle charisma that can hold people together. And while he has ambitions for peace, he is someone who values daily life with the people around him even more. Giovanni Batlan. It's rare to experience something that feels like my left and right brain acting separately. Grumble. Giovanni's personality does pop out from time to time. But coming back isn't hard. I just do it like blowing my nose. And it is just as the system advised. Tip. Resolution solution utilize Geo. While synchronizing with Giovanni's personality, I get hungry. I require regular sleep. And now I need to clean the bathroom. With this, I look more like a human. Therefore, I am currently famished. Then, shall we go? Huh. Oh, right. This way. I can't believe this. I think I was worrying about the wrong target. Because he was afraid humans would be crushed by his grade. He cut off his own grade and showed up like that? There are so many floors. That's like cutting off all your own limbs and crawling around. A horrific act no different from self-harm. Geo, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. Even the way he unusually enjoys giving gifts, now that I think about it, is a troubling trait. If malicious people approach him, it'll be a headache. More than any sudden actions Geo might take. I should have been preparing for and worrying about the humans who might provoke Geo. They say even mountains and rivers change in 10 years. But compared to the one time I came out before, it's far more varied and distinctive scenery. The view is so incredible, it's almost funny that I was worried about the resolution problem. People are just walking around with wicked-looking swords. As expected, even after lowering my grade, I'm still drawing attention. At the very least, you give off the aura of an A-class hunter. For now, just in case, let's keep your cloak hood on. Yes, understood. We're taking that elevated train to the restaurant. What an incredible modern marvel. Can the world really advance this much in just 31 years? For the fare, here, I'll give you my card. If there's anything you want to buy, you can use this. There's no limit. Why would you give me a card with no limit? You're scaring me, boss. Try tapping it. Shudder. It seems like public transportation, but there aren't many people. Is there some special reason? It's not anything that impressive. It's just expensive. Public transportation is too expensive for people to ride. So capitalism has survived all this time. No, IT feels more like the rich get richer and the poor get poorer has gotten even worse. Still, there are usually about 10 people or so. But since it's 8:38 in the morning right now, there are even fewer people because everyone's in the middle of work. In the middle of work? Did I just hear that wrong? Yeah, it depends on the company, but the average start time is 7. Is human rights not a thing in this country? Maybe rather than returning to society and becoming a slave to capitalism again, living as a talking portrait might be better. Oh, right. Do you remember the bungee pang I gave you before? Yes. I'll give you a token of gratitude soon. No, you really don't have to. Well, anyway, that's what you'd call street food. If we're lucky, we might find some while walking around. It's not just bungee pang. There should be takoyaki, egg bread, and Odin, too. Do you know Odin? Sometimes I feel like this man doesn't see me as the same kind of human. Odin is, well, utterly baffled. Sure, I did become a ghost-possessed portrait. No, thanks to being treated like a monster like this. He's willing to accept it if I have no money and lack common sense. The unlimited card in my pocket. I want to eat it. I'll look as hard as I can, but don't get your hopes up too much. There aren't many around because people complain that they ruin the city's appearance. To begin with, it's not the type of work that city people would usually want to do. And once a complaint comes in, not only is their business affected, but if they're from the provinces, they might even have trouble entering the city. It seems like city people and provincial people are being strictly separated. I guess they are. Why is that? I'm not sure how to explain this. But that's just the climate of society itself. I do think it's shameful. But right now, we classify each other by assigning grades. Someone who lives in this city is a hunter and has a respectable job is grade 1. Generally, hunters of B rank or higher are grade 1 as long as they aren't criminal red hunters. Even if their income or job isn't great, anyone who lives in the city is grade 2. And provincial people are usually grade 3. Some poor people who live between the provinces and the city aren't even issued IDs, so they have no administrative records. But they're implicitly classified as grade 4. And criminals, including red hunters, are grade 5. Humans classified as grade 5 aren't treated like humans. In other words, it's been authorized so they can be killed on sight. This isn't just the rich get richer and the poor get poorer growing worse. It's a society where that structure has become everyday life. Is there a reason for that division? The biggest factor is the infrastructure for building defense lines. It's a world where dungeons can break open anytime, anywhere. Among the monsters that weren't subjugated early in the Great Catastrophe, there are some individuals that ended up settling on Earth. For that reason, there's a primary defensive wall around the outskirts of the city. And the materials used in the buildings are extracted from monsters, so they can withstand most attacks. Secondarily, there are civil servants who manage safety inside the city. And there are many hunters, so even if an incident breaks out, it's handled quickly. But resources like that are not unlimited. So in the provinces, there are many ways you can die if you let your guard down. For reference, I chose this place because they don't use monster meat. From the ingredients used in food to building materials, to the position of hunters, who are said to be on the level of weapons of war. People eat monsters? Common knowledge of daily life has completely changed. To think the world changed this brutally in just 31 years. But at least the bulgogi is still incredibly delicious. The only light in a world that has become a dystopia. This is Cheonggyecheon. It's the middle of winter, but it's warm, right? The people in charge of city landscaping cast magic on it. So they manage the environment like a greenhouse. Anyone can enter, except grade 5 citizens and dangerous monsters. There's a bird here I've never seen before. Cotton ball bird it is called that because it resembles cotton balls. If cotton ball bird eggs are boiled and thread is drawn from them, bandages can be made. Yeah, it's a monster whose hostility toward humans has completely vanished, like that bird. So it was a monster? Species like that have changed so they can coexist. So we're also moving away from unconditional exclusion. The birds really seem to like you? They're so cute. The water's warm too, so try dipping your feet in. May I? It's fine. There aren't any people around at this hour anyway. It smells different from the odorless water of the past. It's beautiful water. Clear and deep. Water with a strange, sweet scent. Geo? Water that resembles the sea in that place. Why does this place smell like the sea? Geo. You're SEO Geo, right? That's right. My name is Geo. Here, this is your room key card. I'm in the room right next door, so call me if you need anything. Yes. Dinner's reserved for 6:30, so we can meet at 6. Right. Then get some rest. See you later. I'm sure. That thing I saw earlier wasn't human. Maybe because he was conscious of himself being in Korea. But Geo has been introducing himself as SEO Geo. After seeing that change, I deliberately asked if he was SEO Geo. He defined himself not as SEO Geo, but as Geo. I let my guard down because his grade had dropped. No matter how closely it dresses itself up to resemble a human, it can never become the same kind of being as us. It was nature itself, assuming the form of a human. Terrifying. Meanwhile, so this is the view from the 45th floor. Really? Daddy's in a good mood too. It's a shame I can't feed you, since I brought you in secret. Coo. Yes, when we go back, let's make whatever we want with the leftover fruit syrup. Geo's head was completely empty. Still, things have been going smoothly so far. Maybe in his own way he's trying hard to imitate a human. But for now, he's still the same kind Geo. Please let this trip end without anything happening. And the moment I uttered those words, Geo once again reacted to the water in the canal leading to the restaurant. Geo, you're scaring the driver. I'm sorry. I've never seen a waterway like this, so my curiosity. Even so, this place smells of the sea, too. If you act like you're about to jump off the boat all of a sudden. I was just worried you'd get hurt, so it's fine. Thank you for understanding. Do you perhaps like the sea? Pardon? The water here is affected by aquatic monsters, which raise the water level compared to the land. So they open waterways to let seawater flow through. It was the same at Cheongyecheon earlier. I wondered if you especially liked the smell of the sea. No? But I think Giovanni likes it. I believe he likes it. What kind of yes answer is that? Do mermaids exist here too? He just said here too, didn't he? Mermaids, huh? Does he have some connection to the sea or mermaids? Sometimes monsters like that do pop up. Even if they're not monsters. There are also certain beings that take on that sort of form. Objects of worship, legends, and myths. Become known and believed in by people. And appear as real, existing monsters in this world. Right now, our planet has shrunk down like a single game board and become a dungeon that follows certain rules. Giovanni's quest communicate with the sun god, 01. Bring an ending to the Little Mermaid, 01. We're here, sir. What a gorgeous restaurant. This is a place where the remnants of a fixed dungeon became a restaurant. So the exterior is pretty flashy. A fixed dungeon. Do you not know much about the types of dungeons? Dungeons are broadly divided into fixed dungeons, which are fixed in one place, and mobile dungeons, which change according to their own rules. And those are classified as virtual dungeons, villa dungeons, and entry dungeons. Virtual dungeons have no physical boundaries, and they often activate by swallowing up people who meet arbitrary conditions. Dungeon Activation Conditions 1. At a convenience store at exactly 9 p.m. 10 men in their 30s gather. Curse of leaving work. Raid begins day 1. That sounds incredibly unfair. To think you could go to a convenience store and suddenly get dragged into a dungeon. Right. Even if virtual dungeons are said to appear quite rarely. They're hard to detect and cause huge damage, so they're one of the modern people's worries. The scale of modern people's worries is way too enormous. Fixed dungeons form like this, creating terrain on Earth that didn't originally exist. The dungeon that rose here was related to cooking. And a civilian chef, who wasn't even a hunter but got dragged in by chance, made food. That moved the master of this dungeon and completed the raid. That's the kind of dungeon it was. The taste of home we'd forgotten. Quest complete perfect. The story is incredibly touching. After the dungeon raid, that person underwent awakening as a chef class. And even at 92 years old, they're still active in the field. 92. If you saw them in person, they'd look about in their 50s. They say awakened people age more slowly as well, starting from at least C class. I want to stop being so shocked by this changed world. But the fact that you have to stay active on the job, even at the age of 90, is nothing short of terrifying. Anyway, in this way, terrain from an alien dimension replaces existing terrain. And even after the raid is completed, only the rules disappear while it remains on Earth. That's a villa dungeon. Lastly, entry dungeons. Those appear with only a lone passage. And by going inside, you can enter another world's dimension and proceed with the raid. I understand all of it. How was the meal? Was it all right? It wasn't just all right. It was excellent. It was a lovely meal that reminded me of meals I had with my disciples. I'm glad you seem to have enjoyed it. Please, Geo, if you're going to imitate humans, at least pretend to pay attention to your surroundings too. Humans are more social creatures than you think. Let's get out of here quickly. Then shall we head to Gyeongbokgung Palace now? It's a place you absolutely can't skip on a tour of Seoul. Gyeongbokgung Palace. I took my class there on field trips a few times. I wonder if those children are living well in a world like this. I'm looking forward to it. Please come back again, hunters. That suits you, Geo. Who was that customer just now? Don't even think about it. Thank you. Whenever I came here, I was always chaperoning, so I'd never actually worn a hanbok before. It was a lot of work trying to soothe the kids who said they were bored. But dressing them in hanbok and taking pictures for them was fun. So that stiff old place from back then has turned into something this worthwhile. Mr. Yu Seong-gun. What do you call those? I thought you'd know about beings like these. They're fairy tales, living stories. Is this your first time seeing them somewhere like this? The Roots children don't show up at tourist spots very often. The Roots children. You said something similar last time. You mean the Roots children? Yes. Could you explain it in a little more detail? The root I briefly mentioned when I introduced the gardeners last time. It's hard to sum up simply, but you could call it the God of Gods. It manages the balance across the entire universe and every dimension, and creates all kinds of rules. It's a kind of system. Oh, so it's a system. Things born from the roots of that root are called the root's children. Among them, those are the root's children called fairy tales. And while they're close to human in form, they don't truly think like humans. They're just nature imitating something like a concept. The root's children are skilled at dressing up their outer appearance, so no one knows what their true essence is. Can those people not see the root's children? Right. People who can see things like that are rare. They say that in the past, one could see the root's children like those. Earth came under the influence of the root, dungeons appeared. And as awakened people were born, the existing ecosystem itself changed. That's supposedly why people can see them now too, even if it's rare. As you can see, I'm one of the few talented people who can see them. I suppose I am as well. A talented person who underwent awakening through a portrait. Yes, I suppose so. This guy just treated me like a monster again, didn't he? I hear fighting. A scuffle? They'll soon be apprehended by the guards. Create a frame and check the safety level, 01. Reward, seal. All of a sudden, look, they're dragging him away. He just looks like a decent young man who got picked on, so why? He's incredibly dangerous. Is it okay for someone that dangerous to just walk around freely? Did I stare too hard? Gurgle. Whoops. Hiding IT doesn't mean I didn't see it, Geo. Wait, is that the water bird you showed me before? The color's a little different, though. That's right. It's honey. Its name isn't the issue. You could bring it out with you? It seems so. Right. I guess it's about time Earth ended again. Resigned. How am I supposed to report this one? Scary. I don't think he liked me. Should we head back before we run into him again for no reason and he picks a fight? I'd like to return to the hotel. You're leaving already? Sure, if that's what you want. Before we go, I'll buy just 3 more cups of tekbaki. You really do love eating. What the hell was that bastard just now? Normally, I would have gone over and asked what he was doing. But even though he was all covered up, something about him felt creepy. The one beside him was Curator Hunter you see on gun, right? Fuck, I knew something was off. He's definitely awakened. It was only for an instant, but it felt like my personal information was being exposed. People who can peek into someone else's thoughts or memories at will, or awaken people with skills that let them see the past, are surprisingly common. The sun cult ceremony is coming up soon. I worked my way up to priest to prepare this whole setup. If that bastard noticed something and snitches to the cult, it'll be a problem. As expected, I'll have to kill him. Gurgle. What? I've never seen that bird before. No, wait. Is this that bastard's? Was he a tamer? So you sent this thing to spy on me? A mistake rookie hunters often make. I'll catch this and trace back at you. This is... What the hell? Honey? Honey is gone. Please. Can't you just leave me in peace? I might end up crying. Ever since I was young, I've been able to see strange things. What are you talking about? There's no one there. No, can't you see that? Did you see a monster or something? It's not a monster, though. Sorry, I must have been mistaken. Although they sometimes took on forms similar to humans, I knew they were entities fundamentally different from animals or plants. I heard a fire broke out at that house, and the entire family burned to death inside. Sometimes, extremely dangerous ones would appear. It's that thing that's been following that woman around lately. I don't know exactly how they cause people to die, but I never sensed any malice from them. Even so, Their mere existence is enough to threaten humans. Usually, they don't cause any harm. So as long as I don't provoke them first, I'll be fine. From now on, I'll live my life pretending I can't see them. So this is where you were. Cha Yunhyuk, a Bungeopang vendor, supporting his F-rank hunter sister, Cha Era, and his youngest brother, Cha Iaswell, who awakened as a priest. Just a third-class citizen struggling to support his family. How much for a bag? The day finally came when pretending not to see them was no longer enough. It spoke dash, and it even asked for the price. This is my first time seeing one mimic a human this thoroughly. That. It's 5,001 for 10 of them. Do you accept credit cards? See, cash is preferred, but I do accept cards as well. Then. I'd like one bag, please. If I refuse to sell to him, am I going to die? I was just about to close up. So I'll have to bake a fresh batch. Is that okay? Yes, I will wait. The card actually processed the payment perfectly. Did it steal the card? No, why would a monster do that? Someone walking around with an unidentified bird. If so, could it be a tamer hunter? But he gives off the same unsettling feeling as those things. Especially that bird. It's so dangerous that its appearance feels like a deceitful disguise. Here, one bag of Bungeopang is ready. Thank you. And this is a gift. Excuse me. I apologize if I frightened you. You had to interrupt your cleanup and make another batch because of me. I am giving this to you as a token of apology and gratitude. And no, that's okay. I survived. Ever since I started seeing things that others couldn't. I thought I would die in such a bizarre way that people wouldn't even be able to guess the cause of death. Or at the very least, I'd die in some weird manner. I thought that day was today. I should move locations tomorrow. The next day? Aren't you the vendor who was selling in front of the Collector Guild building last time? One bag of Bungeopang, please. Why is the world so small? I haven't seen you around recently, so you moved here. Well, if I stay in the same spot too long, I'll get caught by inspectors. Today, he's with someone who looks like a first-class hunter. Then as I thought, is that guy a hunter? By any chance? Is that person over there a tamer hunter? Thank you for yesterday. What do you mean by that? Did you go out yesterday? Yes, Honey wandered off, so I went looking for him. I told you to let me know before you go anywhere. I found him right away, though. No, that's not the issue here. I knew it. He really is an entity that needs to be controlled by a first-class hunter, right? I almost died selling Bungeopang yesterday, didn't I? He is indeed a tamer hunter. Did something happen by any chance? Yes. After he bought the Bungeopang. The bird he called Honey got incredibly big and bit my head twice before leaving. What are your thoughts on this? I am truly sorry. Were you hurt? No, it didn't hurt. It felt like a joke, I think. Even so, I apologize. My son is. Son? Would you mind if I examined you for any injuries? I am a doctor, so I know how to examine injuries. A doctor? Even if he has the memories of a human called Seo Geo, age 29. I never thought he would be a doctor. Excuse me. That's strange. To think the trail ends here. I went out of my way to choose that one. Was he defeated? Neither the Temple of the Sun nor the media has any idea how this priest vanished. Forget signs of a fight. There aren't even traces of an escape. I was planning to sabotage the Sun Festival, but the one who was supposed to do it disappeared instead. Iser, the only galaxy by my side. It looks like you'll have to do the job. I won't disappoint you. Don't be so tense. My head feels warm. Your scalp was scratched a little. If it got infected, that'd be troublesome, so I purified it a little. Purification. He can even use divine power. How? No. Will I ever figure out what Geo really is? Why you're a believer? Tamers usually don't worship a deity, so I completely misunderstood. So he's actually such a high-ranking hunter that I mistook him for a monster. I've never heard of a monster capable of using holy power. He's at the level where he can even perform a purification ritual on his own. Why isn't such a devout believer a priest? You seem to be a very devout believer. Perhaps, are you all here to watch the Sun Cult initiation ceremony? Is it already time for the Temple of the Sun to hold the initiation ceremony? Yes, a lot of initiation ceremonies are held in midwinter. Actually, the youngest in our family awakened as a priest. So he's taking part in this initiation ceremony. Seeing a believer like you makes me think of him, so it's nice. Oh, they say the more people gather, the easier it is to receive the gaze of God. That's right, if he isn't chosen by God at the initiation ceremony. I'm a bit worried about how he'll make a living. If he awakened as a priest, his affinity for divine power should be exceptional. So a clerical position at the temple should be perfectly possible. I hope so. This year's ceremony is supposed to be pretty grand. You should come watch. I will. Please stop by the collector headquarters again sometime. You're sure nothing happened yesterday? Honey says he's innocent. What a root entity considers innocent. May not exactly match human standards. Kururu. I guess I have no choice but to believe it. Are you planning to return to the portrait today? The outside world is lively. There are so many people and so many things to see and experience. But I don't think this is where I belong. For a fragile, harmless portrait, the outside world has become far too harsh. It's scary. Right. For someone like Geo, who's gentle and sensitive to both good and evil. Having to lower your grade just to come outside can't be easy. Still, I'm glad you had fun. Do you have any interest in seeing the initiation ceremony? Yes, I'm curious. Then I'll let you know when the time comes, so rest in the portrait until then. After finishing his short sightseeing trip and returning to the portrait, Geo did nothing but sleep for a whole day. Outside the blankets is dangerous. Assimilation rate 14.8%. As far as I know, I should still be synchronizing with Giovanni. But the feeling is much weaker when I'm inside the portrait than when I'm outside. Compared to when I was in contact with the water outside, the synchronization has slowed down considerably. This must be a property unique to the world inside the portrait. I never noticed while I stayed inside all the time. But after going outside, I can clearly feel the difference. Even while synchronizing. Inside the portrait, I'm treated as a painting rather than a human. I really am amazing. Shall we go see the elder, honey? With plenty of sandwiches packed. May I come in? Thank you. Yes, this priest of yours is terribly late. Please understand, I was exploring the outside world for a while. I'm clearly underwater, but I can breathe. Is it because I already died in this world? Or because, even after synchronizing, my true nature is still that of a painting? It feels like I'm not bound by this world's rules. Just like when I was in that painted forest. I see. That's a shame. I suppose it feels like losing my homeland. Using the sun's miracle to put air bubbles around the meal. That's right. We can't have the meal getting wet. Enjoy your meal, Father. Communication with the sun god, complete. So you're saying Geo seems to have another self as well? I said I'd organize everything into a report and submit it soon. And yet you just had to summon me here? It's not as though Geo's portrait is my only responsibility. The sea has been unusually turbulent lately, so I've been called away over and over again. The sea? The roots children near the sea have been moving strangely. Something may happen out at sea before long. That's none of my business. I knew you'd say that. Isn't that only natural? An unidentified root entity just returned safely without causing a major incident. And it even revealed another personality. How can you just sit and wait after hearing that? It's not like I can talk to a portrait. That's exactly why Geo avoids talking to us. Everything is submerged in the sea. So fishing has become quite difficult. I was going to treat you to fried fish for dinner. But I happen to be one of the few people in this world who can't swim, so I can't catch them myself either. Pardon? Honey? Honey can hunt. This is only my guess as a curator. But ever since Geo lowered his own grade and came out to sightsee, he has felt like an entirely different being from the usual Geo. Lowered his grade to that of a human, of his own accord. Yes, it's remarkable. Remarkable. No, it's disgusting. To carve away pieces of himself without a second thought. Did it cause him any health issues? He did seem more tired the longer he stayed outside. But there were no serious abnormalities. It's just that the usual Geo is more arrogant, perhaps? No, arrogant isn't the right word. He's extremely polite, yet carries an overwhelming sense of dignity. Even while claiming to be an ordinary 29-year-old human. He watches and praises the staff as though they were admirable ants. And even though he insists it's merely a token of gratitude, receiving candy or jewels from him feels like being blessed by a higher being. But after lowering his grade, none of that remained. He truly felt human. And whenever he came into contact with water, he wasn't even the 29-year-old SEO Geo he claimed to be. His form changed, and he used holy power without any difficulty. To me, it felt as though he'd become an entirely different person. And yet, he still introduced himself as Geo. Grr. You can catch them, but you want me to close my eyes. Why, honey? Your dad could never stop loving you, no matter what you look like. I knew your potential ever since you told me you bit the bungeopang vendor. You absolutely don't want to show me? How can you be this cute? Look, Father Sun God, your grandchild is this adorable. Your dad is very curious what you look like. But if it'll put you at ease, I'll keep my eyes closed as long as you need. Call me when you've caught them all. Geo's portrait. That name wasn't given by humans. What we're seeing is the name assigned by the root itself. The skills used by awakened ones, that is, hunters, all draw their power from the root. In other words, the system itself assigned the name Geo to this portrait. That's not a name humans can simply alter or ignore. And the fact that we can't read any information beyond that means the root itself has forbidden us, saying, this information must not be read. How reassuring. It almost sounds like the story of a god. What if Geo is something humans simply cannot define? Because he's a god? Father, shall we enjoy fish together at the cabin for dinner? Whatever Geo truly is. Haven't I already told you how dangerous it is to attach that sort of setting to a living story? They're beings capable of becoming disasters through belief alone. It's only speculation. Surely you agree Geo is anything but ordinary. Which is precisely why I intend to approach this altered form of Geo much more cautiously. Geo believes himself to be human. Yet he isn't disturbed in the slightest by how inhuman he really is. He possesses power that threatens humanity, yet he's far too carefree. I don't believe any human could possess that kind of mental capacity. If we carelessly ask him about his various personalities, and he comes to realize his true nature, there's no telling what might happen. There, dinner's ready. It's best eaten while it's warm. He even crisped it up with the sun's miracle. Maybe it's because it's so fresh, but it's delicious however you cook it. Munch, munch, munch. Sounds good. I've been tending a small vegetable patch. So why don't we use some of it for our next meal? Are you preparing the hunter ID Geo will receive? Of course, for humanity's sake, he must remain human. And that bird? You said it was a being Geo created by drawing it, right? Ah, yes. He brought it along this time, but nothing unusual happened. No, that's not what I meant. If he can create food, jewels, and even living creatures, simply by drawing them, then what would happen if he drew an entire landscape? Whoa. What in the world? What happened to my small, precious vegetable patch? Where did the cherry tomatoes, corn, and peas go? And why is there an Amazon rainforest in its place? It doesn't seem like Gun gave me strange seeds. Oh heavens! Why is there a dead deer here? Elixir refining method. Processed meat made by trimming the flesh and drying it in the sun provides a great sense of fullness and heals minor abrasions. Habitat. Ruined Abila's jungle animal kingdom. It crossed over from another dimension? When? These sweet potato vines, brimming with such powerful vitality, must have taken care of the invasive species that came from outside the painting. That's really scary. They aren't going to keep coming over from that dimension, are they? You can do this too. No, this isn't a competition, honey. Anyway, I was just about to prepare a meal, so this works out. I know a guy who lives in Majangdong. He taught me how to butcher meat. Look forward to it, honey. Gururu. I see. The system's advice to turn it into jerky really was important. There was much more meat than I expected, and I didn't have anywhere suitable to store it. Delicious. I want to live like this for the rest of my life. Peacefully. I can't sleep tonight. Because I've become curious about the scenery outside the company. At first, I thought I was simply painting landscapes from my imagination. But the more paintings I completed, the more I began to realize. The scenery I imagined was surprisingly close to reality. Then, if I imagine what it looks like outside the company, it's probably the dark hours just before dawn. Now where am I going to mooch off next? Even though I'm an awakened, being F rank still means I'm treated as nothing more than a porter. All an F rank gets is enhanced physical abilities. And now that I've injured my leg, I'm stuck like this. Even the team that had kept me around for so long finally cut me loose. I need to buy my youngest a priest's robe. And this time, even my rent went up. The buses have stopped running, So I have to sleep on the streets. And now it's fucking snowing too. This fucking sucks. I got a few days of city stay rights with my Hunter ID. But I don't have enough money to stay somewhere like a hotel. If I sleep out in the open, then in the worst case scenario, I could get demoted to a 4th grade citizen, and making money would become even harder. Isn't there some company nearby that makes a decent amount of money? Places like that usually have warming magic set up all around them. What crazy bastard hung a painting here? You scared me. A 4th grade citizen, huh? They still seem to be breathing. They've come pretty far out. Damn it. Fuck, this is embarrassing. Fuck. Why the hell are they sleeping there looking so pathetic? My youngest knitted it for me. Isn't that the painting I saw in another alley a while ago? What? Did I see it wrong before? No, I definitely saw the same one. Unless the same painting is hanging in several places. What the hell is that? Am I fucked? Excuse me. What? What is this? What was that just now? Did I almost fucking die? What did I just see? Frank Hunter Cha era instinctively realized that this mysterious gem was a gift from the portrait. How could this happen? Stalking is a bad thing. No, I was only worried about a woman walking around alone at this hour. So I happened to look at her, but if I keep my gaze fixed on something that's moving, it seems the frame that appears in reality moves along with it. It ended up looking exactly like I was stalking her. She must have been really startled. I hope my apology came across properly. No, wait a second. If a frame follows her around and suddenly hands her a gem, that's even scarier. Giving her a gem was absolutely not what I intended. Could I possibly be turning into another personality that I don't even know about? Thinking back on it now, when I interacted with people as a portrait, I think there were times when I behaved in ways that could be called irrational. It feels different from synchronizing with Giovanni. If the difference were that significant, I would have noticed it sooner. Oh. Quest completion reward for let's make a frame and assess safety. Seal. I did do that, didn't I? I'd completely forgotten. A seal, huh? I know how to use this. But I don't even have any wax. And there's no one to send a letter to. I am a firefly. I have no friends. Grr. My tears are blinding me. Is this the system's way of telling a friendless person like me to make a new connection? There are no signs of an intrusion. The security of this residence is so strong that, unless you're an S-class hunter, there's no ordinary way to get inside. So where on earth did this come from? An envelope so black it seemed bottomless, sealed with wax that looked like melted, glittering jewels. Could it be Gio? The next day. Gio, are you the one who sent this letter? Yes, I am. I wrote my name in the letter. Didn't you see it? Well, I'm sorry. But it was written in a language I didn't recognize, so I couldn't read it. But if I remember correctly, I sent you a letter written in Korean. Huh, really? Yes, I believe something must have gone wrong while the letter was being delivered. Could this be a resolution problem too? I'm sorry. It must have startled you. It's fine, but what did you write in the letter? Nothing special. Just a brief thank you and a greeting. According to the portrait rules, taking an object out of a painting requires a 1-to-1 exchange. However, an item bearing that seal isn't bound by that rule. Instead, it seems to be delivered directly to the recipient. Oh, is that so? According to the portrait rules dash, he spoke as though he hadn't created those rules himself. If he can find ways around the rules himself, does that mean they aren't rules he actually wanted? Even if he created them himself and simply forgot. The fact that he can casually disregard a rule imposed on himself is concerning. If that 1-to-1 rule was meant to protect Earthlings, then as a rule imposed upon the frame, I need to be careful. You startled me. An unfamiliar letter suddenly appeared in my home. I'm sorry. I simply thought I'd try making a new friend. Before making a new connection, I tried sending a letter to you Seongun first. A new friend. Yes, but a letter can only be delivered if the recipient is identified precisely. And now that I've confirmed the language doesn't transmit properly either, I'll think more carefully about how to make a new friend. He seems rather eager to make new friends. As expected, I can't count on him staying quietly inside this building. What would happen if he drew an entire landscape? Is this really the time to ask? Gio, do you perhaps enjoy painting landscapes as well? Yes, I painted one yesterday too. When it comes to worlds I create, I can travel to them without much difficulty. Worlds he created? Is he saying he can create dimensions and travel between them? That's an unimaginable scale. Does that mean he can travel to dungeons too? How much did Guild Leader by Sabiel anticipate? No. How much did he actually see? I need to raise Gio's danger level even further. Dungeons that already have entrances on Earth, and that Earthlings can actually enter? That's right. One that even hunters like me can visit. I haven't tried that yet, but it sounds interesting. He's interested. I should take that as a relief, right? I can suggest he travel somewhere within a manageable range. Then, how about using a dungeon as a place to find a new friend? Somewhere with as few human casualties as possible. Fuck, this sucks. We're one return stone short. Sorry about that. No matter how harsh the world is, how could you leave someone behind in a dungeon when we don't even know where the exit is? I'm a porter, not fucking cargo. If I weren't so desperate for money, I never would have worked with assholes trying to catch something like an anti cat. If rare monsters like that were really so easy to find and sell, A-class hunters would have found and sold them all already. Fuck. I finally thought I'd gotten lucky and found some work. An ant nest dungeon whose entire raid strategy is just find the exit. The monsters here suck your life force dry. So if you let your guard down, they'll cut your lifespan in half before killing you. I have to somehow keep moving and get out. Why is my life like this? Huh. An anti cat.